I'm trapped in a world filled with betrayal and violence. I was supposed to be his salvation, yet all he sees is hatred towards me. Chapter 42. Ryder didn't look fazed by the challenge. Instead, he threw back his head and laughed. He didn't think Justin could be capable of taking him down. I was confident in Justin and in his strength. If Justin couldn't take him down, then I would do it personally. Today he was going to be taken down one way or another. I would die trying if I had to. I would now allow this vile man to cause anyone else pain. I'd have to say I'm impressed. 𝐿𝐷𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐬 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, 𝐿𝐷𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐬. Ryder, as amusement was still in his voice, turning my own beta against me. You've been a naughty girl. He tisk-head. Don't talk to her. Justin growled. You should be paying attention to me. Justin launched himself at Ryder and they both went flying down on the ground. They both rolled out of each other's reach. Then trying to determine who would make the next move. Thunder cracked all around. I looked up at the dark sky that threatened to hide the moon. I felt a small drop hit my cheek. Tonight was a dark night and blood would spill. Don't forget, taught you everything you know, Ryder said as they danced around each other. Don't forget I've been planning this for a long time now. Justin gave a cocky grin. You're not the only one I've trained with. You're not the only one I've been plotting with. I know all of your moves. From behind the confident look I could see that Ryder was more than raging inside. He didn't expect a betrayal from Justin. They had been side by side and here he was challenging him in a duel of death. You don't have it in you, Ryder taunted. Is that what you think? Do you really think it was you who was calling the shots here? You don't know half of it. You to plan this. Well, that explains the stupidity behind the so-called plan. Ryder laughed. How pathetic. This is just a small part of it. Justin said. I could see the smirk on his face as we both watched Ryder's confused look. That's right. 𝐿𝐷𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐬 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, 𝐿𝐷𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐬. There is so much more. What the hell are you both talking about? Ryder's facade was slipping. You'll just have to find out. Justin took the small moment that Ryder was distracted with me to lunge at him. Ryder was quick to dodge Justin's moves. But not by much. Justin's claws grazed Ryder's skin ever so slightly. Ryder didn't make a move to attack Justin. 5 minutes into the fight and I could see what Ryder was trying to do. He was trying to tire out Justin and then attack him. Ryder fought dirty and would take any advantage he could. Enough of this. Ryder huffed. You won't win. If you surrender now, I'll forgive you and let you walk away alive. Will that be before you send your guys to hunt him down like you did to me? You shut up, you little runt. I should have killed you when I had the chance. Ryder spat. That's one thing you won't do twice. Killing a Luna is against pack law and you know it. Even if you tried, you won't lay a finger in her. Justin assured him. I'm going to kill you and then I'm coming after you. 𝐿𝐷𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐬 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, 𝐿𝐷𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐬. Ryder promised. It seemed that we had gotten him riled up because he finally made his move. He lunged at Justin as he shifted in mid-air. Justin was sent flying back and he hit a tree. The tree was small and the poor thing snapped in half. I cringed when Justin's body fell to the ground. He slowly got up and wiped the mud off of his face. The rain was started to come down heavily now. Shifting into your wolf while I'm still in my human form. What a pussy. Justin laughed. My lips twitched up when Ryder growled at him viciously. If I knew you were going to fight like a girl, I would have stayed at home. Justin taunted. How disappointing. I laughed only because I was genuinely enjoying Ryder's reaction. He was pissed. Justin was getting under his skin and Ryder was slowly losing control of his wolf. He couldn't handle the anger he had towards Justin. Ryder snapped his head to me and growled. He took a step towards me and crouched as if ready to pounce. Pay attention. Justin threw himself at Ryder and shifted into his wolf. Justin was full brown colored that almost looked of a mixture with grey. Both wolves rolled around in the mushy ground. They snapped their canines at each other trying to get a bite in. The growling and snapping was loud. Once in a while one of them would yelp in pain when the other got in a good bite. I stood there for what seemed like forever. I was drenched from the rain and I was starting to feel uneasy. I felt like Ryder was purposely dragging this out. He was planning something, but I wasn't going to allow it. My thoughts were confirmed when 𝐿 stepped into the small area we were at. I turned to look at them and smiled. So this is how Ryder wanted to play. Game on. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐿𝐿𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Oh, no fair. 2 against 1. They both started to walk slowly towards me. One of the wolves seemed small. The grown fur stuck to his body from the rain. The other was a mixture of chocolate brown and golden brown. I didn't recognize either, and I honestly didn't care. Bring it on, I challenged. The smallest of the wolves stepped closer to me and snapped his canines threateningly. I laughed and looked at him. I kept the smile on my face just to get under his skin. He didn't make a move to attack me, and I knew it was because I was in my human form. He didn't seem to want to fight dirty like Ryder. This was one thing I was thankful for. I was strong, but taking both on would do some damage to me. I kept my eyes on both wolves, and they kept shifting their eyes from me to Ryder. Justin was still fighting with Ryder. You can't follow an order from him. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐿𝐿𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Both wolves turned to look at me. To my surprise, they both shifted into their human form. We should kill you, the younger of the boys said. But you can't. Your alpha is in a fight for his title. Until it's over, you can't follow an order until you have a true alpha. They both growled at me, and I realized the older one didn't seem to care. His hand connected with my face and the slap echoed in my ears. I stumbled back and my head jerked to the side from the impact. We stay loyal to the alpha that still has the title. The older one's pat. Didn't your mother ever teach you not to hit a girl? Didn't your mother ever teach you some respect? He retorted. I smiled overly sweet at him. If only he knew my oh-so-wonderful mother. She wasn't the best woman in the world. She disowned me. What kind of mother did that? Lucky for you, my mother wasn't much of a role model. I lunged at him and we spiraled down on the ground. My fist connected to the side of his face. I felt the other grab me from my shirt to pry me off. My feet dangled in the air and I was thrown halfway across the clearing. I landed on my back and I felt the wind being knocked out of me. I knew taking on 2 men by myself was going to be a challenge. I had done it many times when I was a rogue, but there was only one man I cared about killing. These 2 were only following orders. I felt claws sink into my shoulders and I was pulled up to my feet. I felt something hard hit me in the back of my head. I stumbled and blindly swung my arm. My fist came in contact with something. I didn't waste any time in throwing a high kick. I looked down at the boy that paid unconscious on the ground. I momentarily wondered how hard I had actually hit him. I looked at the younger boy who looked slightly frightened. I myself was surprised. I didn't think I could knock him out with 1 kick. I spent many times training with Jake and he taught me every move possible to knock someone out. It just never happened because he was always there to do it for me. Stay back or else I won't think twice about killing you. I won't. The boy looked hesitant and continued to look at the fight in front of us. He looked so young and didn't seem to belong here. He must have been about 16. I don't want to hurt you. Believe me when I say you won't get that close. As if to prove my point, I kicked the unconscious boy. But I have to. He continued. Don't take another step closer. I wouldn't. I heard a loud howl and Ryder turned his attention to us. Justin took that opportunity to bite down in Ryder's side. Ryder fell to the ground and shifted back. He cursed and struggled to stand. You fucking bitch. Ryder spat at me. I felt myself come down when I felt his presence. I was worried that the rain would wash away my trail. But here he was. I guess now you must realize that you're the one surrounded. I said to Ryder. You'll pay for this. Ryder said. It's you who is paying. Kill her. He shouted at the boy. I turned to see the younger boy making his way to me. I turned back to Ryder and he was already being pinned down in his wolf by Justin's. I was surprised when I felt hands pushing me hard. I almost tripped over the boy laying on the ground. He had begun to toss around. I managed to stay on my feet, but the small boy was still coming at me. If you don't stop, you'll end up like him, I warned. You hurt my brother, so now I'm going to hurt you. I started backing away, but something hit my body that sent me flying. Ryder had slammed his body into mine. He stood over me as I tried to get back up from the ground. Several feet away, Justin was trying to get back in his feet. I didn't even notice when Ryder managed to get the upper hand. I didn't have a chance to get up when the boy was on top of me, pinning me down. I tried to buck him off of me. Hands were around my neck, cutting off my breathing. I tried to punch, claw and kick the boy off. At one point his hands had slipped from my neck. The rain was still falling down and it was making it hard for me to see. I clawed at the boy's face and he cursed. I cried out when I felt his nail slice down the side of my face. His hands were around my neck again. I wasn't going to be able to fight him off. He was straddling my waist, making it hard for me to get him to move. I smacked his face and scratched at his chest. His hold got tighter around my neck and I realized I wasn't going to be able to get him off of me. My vision was beginning to blur and I could no longer breathe. I shut my eyes tightly and pulled on his wrists. I started gasping for air when his hand suddenly left my neck. My eyes opened and I blinked away the tears in my eyes. I sat up and a few feet away the boy was laying on the ground with a big grey and black wolf over him. I recognized his scent immediately. What took you so long? 𝐿𝐤𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Eric gave me a crooked smile and shrugged. I never felt so relieved to see him. He held out his hand for me to take, but he was shoved out of the way by Ryder. Ryder shifted and snarled down at me. I would choose your words carefully, Eric warned. Now you're on her side. Ryder questioned. Do you not remember who killed your mate? Just tell him the truth. 𝐿𝐤𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. 𝐿𝐤𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Stop lying to everyone. If for once in your life, own up to what you have done. I've done nothing wrong. You killed her. 𝐿𝐤𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Justin said, that was your plan from the beginning. You kept everyone in the dark, but I knew. I didn't feel our bond break when 𝐿𝐤𝐳 was over her body. She was still alive. Eric said, tell me the truth. Who really killed my mate? I was surprised how calm Eric was at the moment. He had to be calm and take control of his wolf. Justin and Ryder were still in a duel for the alpha title. You want the truth? I killed that little bitch and died every second of it. She was weak and pathetic. I threw all the blame on 𝐿𝐤𝐳 and had her hunted down. I wanted her dead so she wouldn't fuck shit up. Ryder growled out, you're going to spend the rest of your life rotting in hell. 𝐿𝐤𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I turned and saw Shayne running to me. I couldn't help smiling when I saw him making his way to me. He was here on time and he came for me. My plan had worked and everyone was finally here to hear Ryder's confession. I stood on my feet and took a step towards him, but I was yanked back. I turned around, but I didn't have time to brace for Ryder's attack. His hand came down at me and managed to claw at my chest. I cried out from the pain and was shoved to the ground. 𝐿𝐤𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I heard someone shout, don't let him get away. I felt hands trying to lift me up. I opened my eyes and saw Shayne moving me to his lap. He pressed something down on my chest. Don't get any closer, Shayne growled. I didn't know who he was growling at, and at this point I didn't care. I could smell the blood mixed with the wet earth. I remembered Derek doing the same to me not too long ago. To think he could have killed me sent a shiver down my spine. Things were different now. Don't kill him, Shayne shouted. Capture him and leave him to me. My chest felt as if it was on fire. I could feel my body trying to heal itself. But I just didn't have the energy to speed the process. My eyes felt heavy and I fought to keep them open. It's going to be okay, Shayne reassured me. I'll be okay. I struggled to open my eyes, and when I did, I immediately wished I hadn't. There was a bright light I didn't know where it was coming from. It made my head begin to throb. Where was I? The last thing I remembered was seeing Shayne and being in his arms. You're awake. My eyes shot open and I found Shayne's warm brown eyes looking down at me. I noticed now that he was holding my hand. I reached up with my free hand to touch my chest, and I noticed I had gauze wrapped around. My wound should have been close to fully healing by now. The light coming through the window told me it was morning. Where's Ryder? Alarmed. Dead. Shayne's voice held no emotion. I couldn't hide the surprise. I admit I wanted him to die at my hands, but being dead was better than having him running around and still breathing. I was at least thankful that the nightmare had ended. Justin was able to track him down and kill him. Eric and I wouldn't have been able to kill him. Justin was still fighting for the Alpha title. There's a lot of problems he's trying to handle right now in Imperial. Justin is choosing a beta and his third in command. We're going to form a peace treaty. It's really over. I didn't know why, but I started crying. At first it was just the small tears, but then I started sobbing uncontrollably. Shayne sat on the bed next to me and carefully moved me on his lap. I felt at peace now. I didn't have this terrible burden hanging over me. Everyone knew I wasn't to blame. Justice had been served. I could finally start over with Shayne. Don't cry, Shayne whispered. I'm so sorry. It's over now. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for hurting you when we first met. I'm sorry for hurting you now. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Why did you leave me like that? You could have told me. Shayne's hold on me tightened and he tensed up. He was definitely mad about being me seducing him. It was the only thing I could think of. If I were to die, then at least I was able to say my goodbye to Shayne and remember a happy moment. You wouldn't have let me do it. Eric had to hear it from him. I don't want you to ever do something like that again, Shayne warned. I looked up at his serious face and then a small smile took over. He turned me so I was now facing him. I immediately wrapped my arms around his neck and brought his lips to mine. We fit together so perfectly. His warm lips on mine were like sparks that set my body on fire. I didn't have a worry, and that's what made it 10 times better. He didn't hate me. There was only love. Please forgive me. I promise it will never happen again, I said, pulling away. There's nothing to forgive. My love, he said, caressing my cheek. I will love you no matter what crazy thing you do. He pecked my lips one more time and I giggled when he gave my sides a squeeze. I was about to pull him in for another kiss when the door opened. Well, I can see you're feeling better, Jake said, looking amused. I grinned and tried to move off of his lap, but Shayne wasn't going to have it. I'm glad you're okay, sis, Jake said. Of course I am. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm finally happy. Doc said you can go home now. Elle is missing her mommy. Jake chuckled. I smiled, thinking of my baby girl. Things couldn't be more perfect. Everything was great. It took me a long time to find the place of happiness where I belonged, but I found it, and I wasn't letting it go. Shayne, let's go home, I said, smiling. Our baby is waiting for us. Home it is, he said, kissing my cheek and squeezing my sides, making me giggle. Nope, never letting go. The end. Shayne's POV. What kind of special hell was I living in? I kept feeling like I was falling down a black hole without an end. My sister died at the hands of my mate. Her confession hit me harder than what I had expected. Almost a week had passed since that day that changed everything. A week without Sage by my side. I had gotten used to her being by my side. I got used to waking up next to her and sleeping knowing she was just there. There was a knock on my door and Alex stepped in without an invitation. He looked just as tired and stressed as I did. I was aware that he was getting the worst end of my moods. He didn't deserve it. But I couldn't bring myself to really care. Imperial will be here later today, Alex said. I'm aware. My voice came out strained. Ryder was a threat. My wolf felt it too. It was becoming hard to push him back. There were several times that I came close to shifting just because someone said the wrong thing. It was getting out of control. It was all because of my mate. My beautiful and wolf mate. My mate who hid secrets and lied. My mate who killed my sister. Ellie didn't deserve to die. She was too pure. I didn't think that just because she was my sister. To know Ellie was to know the warmth of the sun. Warmth radiated from her like I had never seen before. And just like that, she was gone. I was planning on letting then out for a quick run. They haven't shifted in days. It's better if they get their pent-up energy out. Send a few guards to take Jake and Barry out. I'll take care of Sage. Alex gave me a look that I tried not to read too much into. I knew he wasn't a fan of Sage, and knowing the truth made it worse. Alex loved Ellie like a sister. He took her death as hard as I did. Is that all you needed? What are you planning on doing? Alex asked. I'm just going to take Sage out for a quick run, and not about that. He cut me off. I mean, what are you going to do if 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬 Ryder want her dead for what she did? They won't kill her. A growl left my mouth. What if they do? I sighed and ran a hand through my hair. I don't know. Alex was quiet for a moment. Do you honestly think she did it? She told me she did. Alex took a seat in front of me, and he let his head drop. A heavy silence fell between us. I couldn't imagine what he was thinking. Maybe he thought Sage should die for what she did. That single thought running through my head had me on the verge of shifting. It angered my wolf. It angered me too. She wouldn't have wanted her dead. You know, Alex finally said. Ellie, I mean. She would have forgiven her in a heartbeat. That's just who she was. I know. It hurt to think about Ellie. It always did. Before I imagined what it would be like to finally have justice and punish the person who took her life. Well, life did seem to have a twisted sense of humor. I should have seen it coming. All the signs were there from the beginning. She kept trying to run away. She didn't want to be here. But she stayed. I couldn't understand what had changed. I was happy to have Sage with me. She brought a new light to my life I didn't know I needed. With everything that was happening now, I felt like it was all a lie. I'm going to take Sage out. Make sure Jake and Barry get taken out too. To my agentic 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬, my 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 Standing up. Are you sure you want to do that? 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐷 asked, eyeing me. I looked down at my hands and noticed my claws were out. My eyes were probably pitch black. My wolf was at bay and I needed to let him out. I also just needed to see my mate. Too many days had passed and I could already feel my control starting to slip. I need to see her, was all I said. I took my time walking to the prison cells. I needed the time to calm my wolf down. I wanted to make sure I had some of a clear head with 𝐿𝐲. I could hear talking as I approached the cells 𝐿𝐲 was in. They all went quiet as they heard me approaching. I felt my entire body relax when I finally stood in front of her. This was what I needed. 𝐿𝐲 was laying on the bed curled up. Her eyes looked tired. There were dark circles under her eyes and she looked too pale. That's when I noticed the smell of vomit. It was coming from her cell and it explained her appearance. It was the thing that now brought me into high alert. Something was seriously wrong. If you're here to bother her, then you can leave, Jake said. She isn't in the mood. I'm not here to speak to you. I snapped at him. My wolf wasn't in the mood to even talk to her, so, called brother. My wolf kept screaming at me to tend to my mate. Then why are you here? I kept my eyes on 𝐿𝐲 and I could practically see how she was trying to keep herself together. Her wolf was calling out to mine, and mine was dying to have her closer. It was agonizing. I'm here to take 𝐿𝐲. You're not taking her anywhere. Jake growled at me. You're all being let out to shift. If you run away, then my men have orders to kill you. That got 𝐿𝐲's attention. She quickly sat up, but then groaned and fell back into the bed. Her hand brushed the side of the bed and I saw her bring up a bowl of water. She propped herself up and took a few mouthfuls of water. After she set the bottle on the floor, she made another attempt to sit up. I heard the small sigh that left her and she looked relieved. She also looked like she was going to be sick. I don't want to go anywhere. Her voice came out small and weak. I don't care what you want. I managed to say without emotion. I couldn't take my wolf trying to claw its way out anymore. I reached into my pocket to fish out the key to her cell. When I was inside, I wasted no time in getting her out of the cell. If I didn't get her out soon, my wolf would shift in if that happened. I didn't know what he would do. Stop, Sage said. She's sick. Jake growled. She's been throwing up all week. BRE added. I looked at my mate again. She was sick. That explained the vomit and the pale look. Now I really needed to get her out. But I also needed to be careful. My wolf wasn't taking kindly to the way I was handling her. Maybe you should get her to a pack doctor, BRE suggested after I loosened my grip on Sage. I'm fine, Sage said. It was the food I ate. Guards will be here to take the both of you out. I informed them. I dragged Sage out of the cells and led her out of the building. My wolf wanted out and I just needed to get us out of there. I was moving too quick for Sage to keep up. Once we were out of the building, I felt a bit more relaxed, but it wasn't enough. I dragged her deeper into the woods. I kept letting my wolf lead the way. I knew that if anyone got in my way right now, I would kill them. My wolf felt like there was a threat and it annoyed me just how protective he was being. I didn't understand it and that confused me even more. The only threat was Eric and Ryder, but I already had that in mind. Once we were far enough that my wolf was satisfied, I let go of Sage. I needed to shift. I wanted to let go of everything and just give over to my instincts. That was hard to do when my instincts were leading me to act like a lunatic. I took off my shirt and tossed it to the side. I was going to take off my jeans next but noticed Sage looking at me. I expected her to have already shifted. It was over a week since she last let her wolf out. Take off your clothes. 𝐿𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸 𝐷𝐸 𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸. Sage raised a brow at me and didn't move. I didn't know why she just continued to look at me. I walked closer to her and all I wanted to do was take her in my arms. Before I could do that, I simply reached for her shirt to help her take it off. Don't touch me, Sage said, smacking my hand away. Take off your clothes. I'm not taking off my clothes while you're watching me like a pervert, she snapped. I'm your mate and I can see you without clothes if I want. Oh, so now I'm your mate. There was a challenge in her tone. I couldn't explain what those words did to me. It got my wolf riled up even more. She was mine. Despite everything that had happened, we belonged to each other. In every single way. Sage was my mate. Take them off now, I said threateningly. I don't have a problem if these clothes get shredded and I don't care if I have to walk back without clothes, Sage said. My wolf definitely didn't like being challenged. I growled and she jumped back out of my reach before I could grab her arm. In a matter of seconds she shifted and Grey Wolf stood in front of me. My wolf took that as another challenge. I shifted into my wolf once my jeans were off. I towered over Sage in my wolf form but she wouldn't back away. It wasn't in her to do that, especially with the way things were right now. Our relationship was hanging by a strand. Disobedience will get you nowhere, I said through our kind link. It will keep me away from you, Sage said right before she broke out into a run. I should have expected her to make a run for it, but I'd hoped that she wouldn't. I tried to steer her in a different direction. I felt like a cat or dog trying to herd its sheep. I almost snorted at the stupid thought. My wolf relaxed when Sage no longer seemed like she was going to try to escape. As we continued to run, she slowed down and seemed to relax more. The wind felt good brushing against my coat. This is what I needed. After a while I felt myself relax. Having Sage next to me calmed me down. I told myself that I wasn't going to think about the mess we were both in. Right now. 𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸 𝐿𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸. It was just the two of us. But then that terrible feeling started coming back. The one that was threatening to shatter everything and I needed to get away. We have to go back. 𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸 𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸. We've only been out for 10 minutes, 𝐊𝐲 said, sounding disappointed. 10 minutes is enough. My tone came out harsh. 𝐊𝐲 hung her head and started heading back. I shifted once I found my clothes I had tossed on the ground. 𝐊𝐲 shifted and began walking away. She didn't have anything to change into. I had only slipped on my jeans when she started walking away. I growled out and reached out for her. I pulled her back and she crashed into me. She looked up at me through narrowed eyes. Did she honestly think I would let her walk around completely without clothes? My wolf was just as furious. The possible threats were endless and my wolf was seeing red. Where do you think you're going? Walking back. You didn't want to look away, so now you can look at me all you want. Just like everyone else. She was taunting me. Even though I let my wolf out, it hadn't been enough. I was so close to shifting. I couldn't understand why it was so hard to keep control. You aren't going anywhere like that. Whatever. 𝐊𝐲 tried to pull away, but I didn't let go. My eyes roamed her face and I could see up close just how all of this was affecting her. She looked different. Thick. She even smelled different. As soon as that thought entered my mind, something felt like it snapped together. That's what had my wolf riled up. Something in her scent had changed and I didn't know what it was. From what I could see, she didn't physically look any different. You smell different. What? 𝐊𝐲 asked, looking confused. Your scent is different. Why is it different? My hold on her tightened. What was it that was so different that had my wolf crazy? Maybe you don't recognize it anymore. Don't play with me. 𝐿𝐲𝐵 𝐷𝐿𝐻𝐿 𝐻𝐿𝐷𝐞𝐝𝐿 𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐷𝐞𝐝𝐿 Who have you been with? Are you serious? I've been locked in a cell for a week. A week. And you're asking me if I've been with anyone else. I was being ridiculous. It was just because she was sick. What if she was dying? No. I needed to stop. I wasn't helping either of us with those thoughts. Are you really sick? I'm fine. Your body feels warm. I didn't realize I had done it. But my hand came up to cup her face. She was too warm. It wasn't normal. My hand pressed against her forehead and her cheeks just to be sure. Suddenly, 𝐊𝐲 pulled away from me and I saw the hurt in her eyes. I'll get the pack doctor to take a look at you. 𝐿𝐻𝐿 𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐿 I don't need a doctor. 𝐊𝐲 shook her head. I'm fine. I just hate the food the gods are bringing me. It's dry and it tastes like rotten food. I'll change that. I promised her. I gave 𝐊𝐲 my shirt and was glad she didn't argue with me. She slipped on my boxers as well. Shayne, can you know? You don't even know what I'm going to say. You want me to let you out. I don't want you to let me go. Keep me locked up if you want. But not them. They knew. No. They didn't know anything. I lied to you about them too. Is there anything you didn't lie about? 𝐊𝐲 flinched. Could she honestly blame me? All she had been doing was lie to me. Damn, did it hurt knowing everything was a complete lie. It went as far as making me doubt if she even loved me at all. Jake knew what I had done, but he wasn't the one who did it. He didn't even know me back then. Bray didn't know either, and they have no part in this. They broke the law. They're rogues and they didn't turn you in. Is that what you would have wanted? I'm not letting them go. Ignoring her question. Shayne, please. She was begging now. Bray's going to die because of me. She will be punished. As for you, I'll let Eric and Ryder decide. She didn't do anything. Bray is. I don't care who or what she is. I snapped. I've made up my mind. They're going to sentence us to death. Are you going to let them do that? No. They wouldn't kill her. I knew Eric would want her dead. But dead wasn't as fair of a punishment in his eyes. Maybe death would be better if he was thinking about a special kind of torture for 𝐨𝐲. My wolf again was screaming at me to protect her. No one could even touch her. I was brought out of my thoughts when 𝐊𝐤𝐧 started running. She hid behind a tree and I followed. Before I could even reach for her, she was vomiting. What was going on? I had to take her to the pack doctor. This wasn't normal. I pulled 𝐊𝐤𝐧's hair back until she finally stopped. 𝐊𝐤𝐧 tried to push me away, but her attempts were weak. She wasn't in any condition to even get me to move an inch. "I'm taking you to the doctor," I said when she finally straightened. "Why waste his time when I'm going to die? You killed my sister. I was ordered to do it. Have you ever stopped to ask what happened that day? You think I wanted to do it? I was 15. I was scared and I didn't know what to do. So you killed my sister. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know she was sister? I didn't know you were my mate. I hadn't reached that age yet. Your lie. I don't care what you have to say. Keep in mind that I was part of Imperial and the orders had to come from someone." 𝐊𝐤𝐧 walked ahead of me and didn't turn back to look at me, not even when I had guards escort her to the cells. As soon as the door closed behind her, I headed to see one of the pack doctors. I gathered a few things for 𝐊𝐤𝐧 and had Sam send them to her. I only had a short time to get ready for Ryder's arrival. 3 alphas in one territory wasn't a wise decision. When Alex informed me that Ryder and his pack were here, I felt my wolf go on high alert. The urge to eliminate the threat was almost unbearable. I wanted Alex and Sam with me. Chase was making sure our territory was secure and that some of our best people were patrolling. The last thing we needed was a surprise attack. "Shayne," Ryder said as a way of greeting when he stepped out of his truck. "It's been a while. 𝐊𝐤𝐧 𝐷𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐻𝐿 Heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm." I nodded. "Where is Eric?" I thought this would be a party of 3. Every party needs its clown. Alex said through our mind link. He will join us in a few. We have a few things to discuss. Ryder nodded a few of his guards that surrounded him. They all took positions next to the cars and trailed close to him. I led them into the conference room that connected to my office. Everyone settled around and I had to take a few moments to make sure I kept a level head through this. I couldn't lose my temper and I couldn't let my wolf take control. Sam, Chase and one of my best fighters were the only ones in the room with us. I wasn't worried about Ryder trying anything. He would be stupid to do so. "Where is your lovely mate? Will she be joining us?" Ryder asked. "No. My mate will not be joining us right now." 𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐻𝐿 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We have a few things to discuss before we talk about her. Ryder raised an arc brow. 𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐻𝐿 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. What do you want to discuss? My sister. I want to know what happened that day. What happened that day is between Eric and I. It involves my sister. That means I need to know what happened. Your pack was involved. Something happened and I want to know everything." Ryder sat back in his chair and even though he seemed unconcerned, I could tell that he was going to toy with me. "Have you asked your mate? This conversation doesn't involve her, doesn't it?" 𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐻𝐿 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She belonged to me. She was there that day and if my memory serves me right, she was the one who killed the Luna. "You want to talk about 𝐨𝐤𝐧? You were her alpha. Did you order my mate to kill my sister?" Ryder laughed and shook his head. He still tried to seem relaxed and unbothered, but looking closely, I could see it was all a game. His eyes kept shifting to black and even though his posture sagged, I could see he was tense. 𝐨𝐤𝐧 is a traitor to our pack. The moment she chose to attack is the moment she stopped being a part of my pack. I didn't have control over her. I tried to stop it. The others involved were punished. 𝐨𝐤𝐧 ran away before she had to pay the price of her betrayal. Now that I've found her, I demand to be the one who chooses her punishment. She rightfully belongs to me. Before I could get out of my chair and attack him, there was a knock on the door. Eric walked in alone. He didn't need to protect himself from me or my pack. I was glad that he trusted me enough that he knew my pack would protect him if Ryder decided to attack him here. If anyone is choosing her punishment, Eric said, taking a seat closest to me. It was my mate that she killed. Eric and Ryder started debating who got to punish 𝐭∩ I didn't want to sit here with these two talking about punishing or killing my mate. I wanted to rip them all to shreds. For Eric, I had to keep it together. For 𝐿𝐢, I had to make sure that I did the right thing. I tried to block them both out. I tried not to let a single reaction slip. Ryder couldn't see how much this was all affecting me. I want to see her, Ryder said. No, came my immediate response. I want you to make sure you have the right girl. She belongs to me after all. She is mine. I really tried to keep it together, but he kept claiming that 𝐭∩ was his. It did not sit well with my wolf. She was mine. She belonged to me way before she ever belonged to you. That means she's mine. I saw Ed then, and it took Sam and Chase putting a hand on me to keep me from attacking him. There wouldn't have been a single thing I wouldn't give to rip his heart out. The possessive side of my wolf was winning over. 𝐭∩ and I were fully mated now. I knew she had never been with anyone before I came into her life. That was enough to calm my wolf just a fraction. Still, they could have had something going on and it was killing me. Why don't we leave this for tomorrow? Eric suggested. Let's call it a night. Tomorrow we can continue this conversation. Ryder didn't have much of a choice. I wasn't going to let him near 𝐭∩ tonight. Tomorrow would be a different story. 𝐿𝐢𝐴 𝐷𝐴𝐻𝐿 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience and enthusiasm. Escort them out, I said through gritted teeth. I'll see both of you in the morning, Ryder said before getting up to leave. I was able to relax once Ryder was out of the room, but Sam still gave me a worried look. Eric seemed to be deep in thought. Go check on 𝐭∩. I told Sam through our mind link. Are you going to be okay? I nodded at him. Sam quietly walked out of the room and I slipped down in my chair. Eric looked at me and I could see he wanted to say something, but was thinking twice about it. Whatever it was, I wasn't going to like it. Out with it. 𝐿𝐢𝐴 𝐷𝐴𝐻𝐿 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience and enthusiasm. I don't want 𝐭∩ at his hands. Who knows what he will do? Eric said. I don't think she would be any better at the mercy of your hands. Eric sighed. What do you want me to say? I lost my mate. She deserves justice. So you'll take mine away. I questioned. 𝐿𝐢 was your sister. Why did everyone keep saying that? I never forgot that she was my sister. I didn't forget about her after she died. None of us did. Yes, 𝐿𝐢 was my sister. But 𝐭∩ is my mate. My other half. The better part of me. She was my sister. 𝐿𝐢𝐴 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience and enthusiasm. 𝐭∩ is my mate. I know you're in pain. 𝐿𝐢𝐴 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience and enthusiasm. Believe me, no one understands more than I do. The only thing I ask is for you to think this through clearly. I won't stand against our laws. Werewolves had several laws they followed. It was up to each alpha if they wanted to follow them or not. They mainly existed to create some kind of order and peace amongst us. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't care. I would start a war for my mate's life. I wouldn't care who I killed in the process. I told him honestly, but it's you and it's 𝐿𝐢. I won't break the peace between our packs over this. I'm hoping you'll be reasonable and rational. If Ryder confirms it's her, then there will be nothing left to say. She has to pay for what she did. Tell me everything that happened that day. Eric shook his head and there was a pained expression on his face. He didn't want to relive that day. But I had to know. Tell me. I insisted. It all happened so fast. It hacked and I lost sight of 𝐿𝐢. When I found her, your mate was standing over her. I did everything to get to her, but someone hit me hard enough that I passed out, and when I opened my eyes again, I could feel the emptiness inside of me. I knew then that she was gone. And where was 𝐭∩? She took one look at me and ran. This was too much. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Why did life have to be so cruel? Wasn't it enough that fate took my sister? Now it was trying to take my mate too. When I finally got home, I went to my office and sat down on one of the couches I had there. I couldn't go back to the room I shared with 𝐭𝐲𝐬. Even though she hadn't been there in a week, her scent covered every surface. It was too much. A few glasses of whiskey and I was able to fall asleep. My dreams were not pleasant and I found myself waking up earlier than I would have. I had hoped that when I opened my eyes, this would have turned out to be a dream, but just like yesterday, I realized it wasn't. I met Ryder and Eric at the Pack building. There was a confident look to him that put me on edge. He wanted this. He wanted to see my mate. I still couldn't forget how he tried to claim her as his. When I stepped in front of 𝐭𝐲𝐬's cell, she was laying down in the small bed. I knew she wasn't asleep, but she probably didn't expect all of us here. 𝐿𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐻 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐴𝐷. Her back went stiff and she looked at me. There was a longing in those dark eyes of hers. That's definitely her, Ryder said. There you have it, Eric said, as if that was final. Are you sure about this? Hoping by some miracle he said no. Positive. I sighed and then my eyes snapped to 𝐭. She was getting up from bed and I couldn't keep the growl from escaping my lips. What the hell was she wearing? She was practically without clothes. I didn't kill her, 𝐭 said, her voice steady. I saw you with my own two eyes. Eric accused. 𝐭 took a step closer to us and that made my wolf wild. She was looking at Eric. She was ignoring me completely and that didn't set well with either me or my wolf. You had a connection with Ellie. Don't talk about her like you knew her. Eric snapped. There was so much venom in his voice I was fighting back my wolf from shifting and attacking him. 𝐭 needed to be protected. If Eric so much as dared to take a step towards her, I would lose it. I could feel someone trying to get into my mind. I shut them all out. I needed to keep my wolf at bay. Tell me something. 𝐿𝐢𝐴𝐷, Madeline Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Did you feel her die? When I stood over her, did you feel anything? My heart could have very well been ripped out of my chest. She couldn't be confessing, could she? Just like that. To them of all people. She told me she killed Ellie, but saying it out loud in front of everyone else is a different story. When I looked at Eric, I expected him to have his teeth bared at her. But instead I found him looking confused. What the hell are you talking about? Eric asked. Enough of this, Ryder said. You aren't possibly going to listen to her, are you? She's nothing but, watch your mouth. Did you feel it? You must have felt the bond break when she died. 𝐭 went. Are you hosting? Ryder asked. And I'll forgive orders. I had no intention or reason to kill Ellie. I was following orders. Don't try dragging me into the shit you created for yourself, Ryder said. My mind was trying to keep up and piece everything together. My wolf was too angry for me to think clearly. There was something else that had him on edge. Enough of this. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I snapped, finally feeling tired of all of this going in circles and leading nowhere. We're all well aware of what you did. Do you? Do you know what I did? Do you know what happened that day? You only know what others have told you, but what about me? I'm not going to fall for your lies again. This isn't the first time you have lied to me. Shayne, I didn't kill your sister. Her voice had a desperation in it that I couldn't ignore. You little lying bitch. Ryder spat. That was it. My wolf was seeing red, and if they didn't get out of here, I was going to kill them all. Get the hell out. All of you. There was a dangerous edge to my voice that made them all listen. One by one they started to file out. They weren't leaving fast enough. Leave us. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Ryder was one of the last to leave. He gave my mate one final look before walking away. It caught me completely off guard when 𝐭 rushed forward and grabbed on the Ryder's beta. I pushed Justin away and grabbed a hold of Sage through the bars. Ryder was now looking at us. Not us. He was looking between Sage and Justin. She's okay. Sage whispered so low, I almost didn't catch the words. Whatever that meant. The beta must have understood because he gave a slight nod before catching up to Ryder. Touch me again. And even Shayne won't stop me from killing you. It took everything in me not to walk over to him and kill him. Oh, did my wolf want to see some blood? I'd appreciate it if you let go of my arm, Sage said. What the hell was that about? 𝐿𝐷𝐸𝐴 𝐿𝐷𝐸𝐴 My voice coming out strained. Why do you care? Sage challenged. Why did you touch him? It's none of your business. Without thinking, I pulled Sage closer to me. She crashed into the bars and she gasped. I myself was surprised that I had done it, but it angered my wolf that she was toying with us. Anything that has to do with you is my business. Not anymore. Sage was struggling against the grip I had her in. Don't test my patience right now. 𝐿𝐷𝐸𝐴 What the hell was that about? I was just telling him his mate was okay. She snapped. Jeez. Despite what you think about me right now, I'm actually innocent of your accusations. I rolled my eyes. She practically told them all she killed my sister and stood over her. You killed Ellie. What more is there to say? Do you honestly believe I would be capable of killing someone innocent? I didn't want to kill her. Ryder ordered me to do it, and it wasn't even me who did it. But you don't care about that, do you? You rather have me 6 feet underground because that's what you're planning. Punish me if you want, but Ryder won't stop there. He hated me and you believe everything he says. And your mate? Why can't you just let me explain and trust me? I couldn't think straight. While Sage was talking, I realized something. Having her this close to me, I could smell it again. That new change in her scent that was driving my wolf crazy. You still smell different. I'm limited to my showers. Frustrated. I'd usually take 2 a day, but being locked here doesn't give me that option. Shut up. That's not what I meant. Your scent is changing. My scent. Confused. I nodded and continued to look at Sage. This time I really did look at all of her. There were some changes in her. She had lost weight. Her eyes looked more tired. And she was too pale. There was something else that I couldn't quite put my finger on. Maybe it's different because you made me bleed. She snapped. I looked down and saw the blood. I immediately released her. I had hurt her. I could see the small puncture wounds begin to heal. What have you done differently? Has anyone been around you? Why do you smell so? So you, Ray's still going on about that? So I smell different. I don't see how this is important. The scent was driving me mad. I couldn't think straight. One moment I stood on the other side of the cells, and in the next I was standing in front of Sage. We were standing so close that I could feel her breath against my skin. What are you doing? Sage asked as I leaned in closer to her. I couldn't help leaning in and hurrying my face in her neck. She smelled so. Amazing that I couldn't get close enough. That is what was driving my wolf crazy. But why? Why was this happening? I was brought back to realize when I felt Sage push me and saw her make a run for it. What the hell had I done now? I darted after her and found myself being surprised by how fast and far Sage was pushing herself. I sent my other men ahead to stop her. The last thing I needed was to have my mate slipping from my fingers like she tried the first time we met. She was ahead of me, but she wasn't going to get far. I could see Sage's wolf pushing herself to go faster. Instead of following behind, I tried to circle around to either meet her or plant myself in front of her. She was pushing herself too hard that my plan wasn't going to work. I pushed myself until I was running close to her. In that moment, I did the only thing I could think of. I shot right for her and put all my body weight into getting her off her feet. Sage went flying and landed on the ground. I shifted and one of my men was already there handing me a pair of shorts. I noticed that Sage was starting to shift back. I barely touched Sage when she turned to me with a feral look in her eyes. Don't touch me. She tried to curl into a ball. She was completely baked and I was thankful my men had turned their backs on us. One of them threw me a shirt and I handed it to 𝐨𝐥𝐷. What the hell were you thinking pulling something like that? Once the shirt was skilled on, I reached for her and pulled her up to her feet. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 cried and I immediately let go. I crouched down next to her and that's when it hit me. The smell of it was clear before I even zeroed in on it. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 was bleeding. A streak of blood was making its way down the inside of her eyes. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 looked at me with wide and worried eyes. Shit. I hurt her really bad. I didn't even think I had thrown her that hard. We need to get you to the doctor. I scooped 𝐨𝐥𝐷 in my arms and ordered the pack doctor to meet me at the pack house as I ran. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 hurried her head in my neck and didn't open her eyes until we made it to the pack house. I took her straight to our room and set her down gently. Does it hurt? Did you feel anything break? Did you land on something? The questions poured out of me. I'm really sorry. 𝐨𝐥𝐷, I didn't know you would get hurt. I don't know what happened. 𝐿𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐷 𝐊𝐢𝐃𝐜𝐜𝐃𝐤𝐃𝐈𝐴𝐿𝐷. Lisa, our pack doctor is on her way. I was thankful when she walked in with a medical kit. I backed away and gave her space to check 𝐨𝐥𝐷 over. When her hand went to lift up the shirt, 𝐨𝐥𝐷 smacked her hand away. No, 𝐨𝐥𝐷 cried out. I want you to leave, 𝐨𝐥𝐷 said. She wasn't looking at me, but I knew who she was talking to. There was no way I was going to leave her alone. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want you in here right now. I don't need you to pretend like you care. Leave. I told you I'm not going anywhere. I really need to look at this, Lisa said. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 seemed to finally give in. She let Lisa examine her, and I couldn't help but feel so much anger towards myself. Especially when I saw the blood. This was my fault. I almost killed her. The fucking irony. We'll have to take you to the infirmary, Lisa said. Why, what is wrong? I had killed her. This was killing her. What the hell had I done? She's bleeding quite a bit and I need to make sure it's not severe. We need to make sure nothing happens to the baby and... My breath caught and I felt like I was choking. Had I heard that right? No. There's no way I was hearing that correctly. There was no way in all the damned world I had heard her right. Whoa. Wait. What? What baby? 𝐨𝐥𝐷 asked. Luna. You didn't know you were carrying. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 asked, her voice coming out high-pitched. I was falling into an endless shithole. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not like this. Shit. 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 Not a pup. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 was pregnant. A pup. No way. I'm not. Am I? The next hour that followed was a blur. I felt like I was watching everything happen through a screen. I couldn't even breathe properly. When Lisa confirmed that 𝐨𝐥𝐷 was indeed pregnant, I couldn't think properly. She was pregnant. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 was carrying my pup. She was pregnant and I had almost killed them both. What the hell had I done? What if the pup didn't make it through? It would be my fault. I didn't deserve to live. To think what something like that would do to 𝐨𝐥𝐷. Did she even know? Is that why she tried to run away? She was going to run and keep the baby away from me. Did you know about this? Are you seriously asking me that? 𝐨𝐥𝐷 was angry at my question. Yes, I am seriously asking you that. Of course I didn't know. When Eric attached me drive, Edmund said I wasn't pregnant. I was feeling sick, but I didn't think it was because of that. I relaxed a little now. If she would have been pregnant when Eric attacked her, thing would not have ended well for anyone. The last time 𝐨𝐥𝐷 and I mated was the day before Eric attacked her. It must have been then that it happened. Werewolf pregnancies happened at a faster rate than humans. That's why your scent is different. I finally understood. My scent. I nodded and stood up. I walked up to the side of the bed and sat down. It's the most intoxicating scent and my wolf loves it. I understand why he kept jumping in excitement every time I caught a whiff of your scent. Okay. So I lied. The truth was that my wolf realized it before I ever did. The aggression I was getting from him was directed at everyone that seemed like a threat. He was trying to protect the pup. At that moment Lisa walked in. I wasn't sure if I was relieved or annoyed. 𝐨𝐥𝐷 and I had a lot that we needed to talk about. How are you feeling? She asked 𝐭. Nervous. Lisa laughed. You and your baby are going to be just fine. I couldn't breathe. They were going to be fine. They were going to be okay. Our baby was going to live. You do have to be in bed rest though. It was a good thing you were in your wolf form when you got hurt. Lisa continued. That prevented you from having a miscarriage, but as of precaution, I want you in bed for at least a week. Lisa said. I would say take it easy on running while you are in your wolf and no clay fighting anymore. Lisa gave me a stern look. I'd like to keep you here for at least hours to make sure you're stable enough to go home. Remember that you need to be careful. Okay. I will be, 𝐭 said, nodding. No stress and no running around. After you leave, I want to see you back in 3 weeks for another ultrasound. Lisa handed 𝐭 a small paper that I could now see was a picture. I couldn't make out anything, but there was a small arrow pointing to a spot. I'll leave you to rest and I'll be back later to check on you, Lisa said. Congratulations, Luna, 𝐭 said, smiling. Congratulations. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐈𝐬. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She turned to me. Thank you, Lisa. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐈𝐬. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You may go now. I'd like to be alone with me mate. After Lisa left, 𝐭 handed me the picture so I could have a better look. It was just a tiny little blob. That was our pup in the picture. Just a tiny little thing that would have been lost if I had hurt 𝐭 even worse than I had. This might be the most horrible and amazing day of my life, I finally said. You're giving me a pup? 𝐭 sounded confused. I looked up at 𝐭 and there was something in her face that made me pause. There was worry and fear in her eyes. I had done that. It was my fault we were here. What? I asked when she didn't say anything. I'm just confused. What's going to happen now? This changes a lot of things. You did damn thing really bad with killing my sister. I didn't kill her. She cut me off. I don't need your lies right now. I stood up and walked away. Why did this have to happen to me now? Damn. I was going to be a father. 𝐭 was pregnant. What kind of twisted shit was this? Ryder is a sick bastard. For some reason he wanted your sister dead, and I wasn't the one to kill her. If you're going to out me back in that cell, I suggest you double up security. He came to see me last night. I don't believe you. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐈𝐬. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It was a lie. I was still trying to process everything. This was only making my thoughts jumble again. Of course you don't. You only believe what you want to hear. Shayne, I know I hurt you and I'm sorry, but I didn't kill Ellie. Look into my eyes. You know I'm not lying. Eric saw you before Ryder knocked him out. I know Eric didn't feel hurt when I was fighting her off. I didn't do it. Shayne, I swear on everything. I swear I didn't do it. Then who did? 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐈𝐬. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He's the one that killed her. He turned everyone against me and had me kicked out of the pack. My own family cut me out of their lives. He hurt me so much and I've had enough of the punishment running for 6 years. You do realize that you're accusing him is something very bad. You don't even have proof to back it up. I'm sure just to know something. That dog you touched, I said through gritted teeth. She had touched that dog. My wolf didn't like it. She was mine. She was mine and she was carrying my pup. What if he had touched her? He's 𝐵RE's mate, 𝐭 said. Oh well, I felt even more like an ass and such an idiot. What the hell was wrong with me? This entire situation was messing with my head. Yeah. Ditto. 𝐭. We really need to talk. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐈𝐬. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Determined to put some normalcy to this. Isn't that what we're doing? This changes a lot of things. Eric will have to back away and we still have to come to an agreement. Your act cannot go unpunished. I already told you it wasn't me. I know, and I'm sorry to say that I'm having a hard trouble believing you. You have no proof of what you're saying. Neither does Eric. He saw you there. He also could feel her slip away if I had killed her. Ryder did it when he knocked out Eric. I'm really sorry for what happened to your sister, but it wasn't me. For years it has been haunting me, and I know now that this was all set up by Ryder. Things didn't add up where Ryder was consented. I had to trust 𝐭𝐤. I owed her this much after what I put her through. Even if it were true, how do you suppose we get any evidence? Justin can help. Ryder's beta. He hates Ryder because he's trying to get 𝐵RE killed. She didn't do anything, and she wasn't involved in any of this mess. Neither was Jake. 𝐊𝐤𝐳 𝐷𝐞𝐝, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We'll have to figure something out. For the first time in a long time, 𝐭𝐤 grinned at me. It made her look completely different. There was a new spark in her eyes. There was hope. I want to go home. I want you home too. 𝐊𝐤𝐳 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Damn, did I want her home. I needed her. Needed her like I never knew that I ever would. So I didn't try to think twice about what I did next. I didn't think twice about bringing my lips down on 𝐭𝐤's. I gave myself over to her and showed her just how much I wanted her by me. 𝐭𝐤 kissed me back hungrily. Her arms wrapped around my neck and she pressed herself closer to me. I wanted her. Not tangled in the sheets with me, but I wanted her as my mate. I wanted her by my side. 𝐭𝐤, this is really hard for me. I don't want you hurt, and neither does my wolf. You're my mate and I can't forget that. I will try to give you the benefit of the doubt. But no more lies. Understood. I managed to say once 𝐭𝐤 pulled away. No more lies. I kissed her again. I ran my tongue along her bottom lip and groaned when she opened her mouth to mine. 𝐊𝐤𝐳 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. This was heaven. This is how we were supposed to be. I've missed you, I said as I brushed my lips against hers. I've missed you too. There was a lightness in my heart and fierce determination. This changed a lot of things. 𝐊𝐤𝐳 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. 𝐭𝐤 looked at me. We're having a baby. I grinned at her. 𝐭𝐤 laughed and it was the most wonderful thing to my ears. She was going to give me a pup. We were having a baby. Yeah, we are. We're having a baby. The words kept running through my head. We were having a baby. If we could make it through this mess, we would be a family. If we got through this. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of the story, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to get notifications for updates.